All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia saying that he is done with Goldenboy if they do not get him this Gervonta Davis fight. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. We are in the 135-pound division. In this video, Ryan Garcia, who is, I think he's the WBC interim title holder, something like that, some irrelevant belt, and Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, Ryan Garcia has a fight coming up against Javier Fortuna, and he says after that fight is over, I am fighting Gervonta Tank Davis in December, and I am not going to allow Oscar De La Hoya and the Goldenboy Promotions to stand in the way of that fight. Now, before I get into that and what that means, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for your support. If you're new to the channel, thank you for your support. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. All right, so let's get into this. Ryan Garcia is a good fighter and a popular fighter, American lightweight. Can't call him a champion because all of the championship belts right now are held by Devin Haney, Devin the Dream Haney, who has the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO belt. So he has all of those things locked up. However, according to many people, and I think it is reasonable to say this, the biggest financial fight that is out there probably is Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. That is because those guys are what you call cash cow fighters. Now, we had in our live stream that we had this morning, we have a lot of conversations and about Devin Haney, about Gervonta Davis and the such. And the conversation of, A side, B side comes up. And, it really, and whenever those conversations come up, one of the things that always gets illuminated in that is the relationship between the belts and the money. Now, the belts are who the sanctioning bodies say is the best guy in their sanctioning body. And typically speaking, when you win that, you are one of the best guys in the division or one of the champions. When you win all of them, you should be considered to be the best in the division. However, that does not necessarily always translate, and especially in this particular division 135, into being the best guy in the division or being the guy that most people want to see fight in the division, the one that the fans are interested in, the fights that the most boxing fans are interested in. Now, there are hardcore boxing fans, and then there are, less avid boxing fans, and then people are just straight up just watch it whenever there's a big fight that comes up. Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia appeal to those guys that appeal to hardcore boxing fans. They also, well, at least Gervonta appeals to hardcore boxing fans that are kind of not as avid as others, and then the casual boxing fans, all three of those groups. Ryan Garcia, I would say really the conversations rest within the people who are not so avid and the people that are really casual that kind of follow him because he's a good looking kid by all, standard measures of it in the country we live in. Right. And so they're interested and want to see him fight. Now, why do we know that's the case? We know that's the case because of the gates that they do. When we hear about pay-per-views and we hear about, all of that, who followers and all that, the pay-per-views, you really never know what they are or what they really are because the networks that have that count never really give the accurate counts or the exact counts, right? So you just kind of left wondering, if it's in some certain amount of range. But the one thing that we know for sure is we know about the gates and how many people actually buy tickets to fights and come into arenas, sit down in seats and watch, because all of those are readily reportable and readily reported and available to people that look and search the public record or file a Freedom of Information Act, and to get that from a government institution in the United States, because those have to be reported for tax purposes, right? Because that is revenue that is generated through taxes for the state, directly paid to the state in taxes. So they report on those numbers and you know what they are. So Gervonta Davis just sold 18,000 tickets in Brooklyn, New York, and Ryan Garcia just sold 12,000, something like that, in almost 13,000 in San Antonio, Texas. So both those guys, are big draws, big gates. So Ryan Garcia is saying that he wants to fight Gervonta Tank Davis next. And the big news with that, and the important thing, is that he said, look, I am not letting Oscar De La Hoya and Goldenboy Promotions keep me from making that fight. They are not going to hide me away. They're not going to hide me away and have me fight a bunch of in-house fights and no, I want to go for Gervonta Davis because that's the biggest fight in the division. That is the fight that's going to make me a star. So he said that a bigger star than he is, and that's what he's going to push for, even if that means he's got to leave. Even if that means he's got to leave Goldenboy Promotions to do it, right? And I don't know I'm not sure what his contract is, how many fights he has left on his contract. All of that stuff is, would be related to how is he going to go about doing it, right? How is he going to get going about doing it? I can't say. However, his willingness to do it, I'm going to tell you, is very, very important, because other than that, that fight is not going to happen. Oscar De La Hoya is not going to give away Ryan Garcia and put him in that type of situation, because that's what you've seen with Oscar De La Hoya and all of the other fighters that he has, that he has under his banner, especially when it comes to fighting a fighter in the PB that fights for the PBC like Gervonta Tank Davis, right? Because if you see what happened with Jaime Munguia and Jamal Charlo, the PBC offered a lot of money to Jaime Munguia to get a chance for Jaime Munguia to fight for the WBC 160-pound title. Jaime Munguia said, and Goldenboy said, no, thank you, we don't want it, and they went on a different direction. Ever since Canelo Alvarez left Showtime and went over to HBO, and during the time that Canelo was there with Oscar De La Hoya, they had not matched them up with any of those PBC fighters. The only fighter that I would say that I saw it looked like they were really taking any amount of chances with, and even that is to a smaller degree, is Virgil Ortiz at 147 pounds, who fought Igis Kalvanakis and who fought Maurice Hooker, and who was, I do believe, calling out for a fight for Terrence Crawford and positioning himself to be the WBO mandatory for Terrence Crawford. But and in that Terrence Crawford situation, it's still, still to be determined whether or not they would have actually done it. But they have been fighting in-house fights and been protecting their fighters, their Goldenboy fighters, and not making those fights with PBC and I do believe also Leonard Ellerby said that he had tried to make a fight between Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis twice, but Oscar De La Hoya wasn't going for it. So I'm not sure what it means when he says that he is going to, he is not going to allow him to get in the way of that. He is going to force that fight, whether that means he's going to try to get out of his contract with, if he's going to try, and even if that's possible, I'm not sure what mechanism that means, but dude, I hope that that's the truth, because that would be a good fight, man. Ryan Garcia is a good fighter, and that would alleviate a lot of the criticism that they have with him about him not being willing to step out there. But, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to doubt that Ryan is being serious. But hey, man, he showed up to Tank's fight. He sat ringside for the fight. Usually when people do that and they are in that type of situation, they wind up being, trying to get it done. So let's hope that happens. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.
If you're a boxing fan and never want to miss a fight, Boxing Showtimes is the app you need. This is a professional boxing schedule in your pocket that keeps you up to date on what's going on in the world of boxing. Enjoy watching fights in a bar, sipping a cold one? We got you. An interactive map with your local boxing bars is available to you at any time. And that's not everything. Set reminders, buy tickets, watch official highlights, get boxing news, and so much more. Download now. Thank us later.